You've been trying to figure out how to learn the cloud. You know that little thing up in the sky where there's birds and the sun and there's, never mind, don't worry about it. So yeah, you want to learn the cloud, this video is for you. In this video, I want to go over a step-by-step guide to how you can learn the cloud and land that cloud job. Now again, I make no promises for you. I can't. There are no guarantees in this life for anyone. So if anyone's telling you, hey, we guarantee you a job if you follow this, or we guarantee you a job if you give us money for this, they probably are lying, because if you suck at the job and you don't learn it, then well, you're not gonna get a job. So yeah, anyway, for those who don't know, I'm a solutions architect at AWS or Amazon Web Services, and I've been doing that for a little over a year. If you don't know my background, I do not have a background in technology. I was blessed by the good Lord above to be an awesome networker and use my transferable skills to get into the largest cloud provider that ever existed. And here we are. So now I've had a lot of people ask me questions, man, how do I do that? Or how would you do it if you could start all over? And that's what I want to talk about to you here. So these steps are not necessarily in one order. You can do some of these at the same time. Some you may need to do in order. Well, yeah, you get what I'm saying. So number one, you need to decide what type of cloud role you want to have. You need to decide if you want to be customer facing, if you want to be in a den, just writing some code and programming. You have to decide if you want even a super technical role at all. And once you kind of did that by done some soul searching, talk to your friends, done a little research, watch videos, like the videos that I'll be posting in this channel. Once you kind of done some of those things, then you will have explored and done the soul searching necessary. And if you figure out what you want to do, then you can move on to the next step, which is actually learn how to cloud and get certified. So if you're completely new to technology, you're completely new to the cloud, I definitely recommend that you get a fundamental or foundational level cloud. So let's use AWS for example. So if you want to get an AWS certification, you want to learn AWS, you're going to start with your AWS Cloud Practitioner certification. It's going to give you the basics of how the services work, what they are, the names, and help you just get familiar with what they are to begin with. From there, you want to get an associate level. So for me, I went from getting a cloud practitioner to an AWS Solutions Architect Associate, which is again for solutions architects. So you can do that. You can do a developer associate. There's some other ones out there too, which I slip in my mind right now, but I will make sure I post a link about it. And from there, you can then decide if you want to go for a professional level cert. Now, again, it's going to depend on the path you want to take, which I can help you with that. Again, if it ends up being a solutions architect like me, then you'll want to go for your solutions architect professional. And if you want to go for any other thing out there, you can go for like a DevOps professional. And then if you then decide that you want to do a specialty, like you already know what your specialty is going to be. You already know that, man, I love machine learning. I love data analytics. I love security. Then you can go for those different specialty certs like security and data analytics and machine learning. And you can go for those. So once you figure out the path of certifications you want to have, you want to make sure you pick some ways to actually study for it. Some of the recommendations that I have are going to be Steph Merritt's Udemy course. There's going to be a bunch of other stuff out there too. You can get A Cloud Guru, create a membership there and take their courses. And for practice exams, I strongly recommend Tutorials Dojo. That's probably the most important aspect to how I was able to get my certifications. It helped me get familiar with the types of questions that were out there. It helped me get familiar with the structure of those questions. And yeah, you got to practice it, especially in review mode, where it's going to tell you why and why not certain answers are correct or not. And you want to use that to study and really get an understanding. And it's even more important to actually know why a question isn't right or why an answer isn't right, because then it's going to help you get even closer to understanding what those services do and how they tie together. Now, from there, step number 3, you want to make sure you get some hands-on experience. Now, this is probably one of the most important parts to any of your process in getting a job in the cloud. You can learn all the things out there in the world. You can memorize it, and you can know how to spell every service out there that exists. But if you don't know how to actually use them, and I don't mean you have to know how to use every single thing, but you want to make sure that you know some of the basics, like how to create a 3-tier web application, how to build a virtual private cloud with your eyes closed. These types of things are going to be important. During my time of actually interviewing for companies, this actually was probably one of the most important things. Like, they never asked me how many years of experience that I have. They didn't ask me what degree that I have. They want to know if I had played around with the cloud at all, if I done any projects, have I done any labs. That's what you need to work on. You need to worry about getting that experience, getting in those consoles for whichever cloud provider you choose. And again, you can choose AWS, the Google Cloud, or Azure for Microsoft. And from there, you want to get as much experience as possible, touching as many services as possible, so that you have as much stuff to say during interviews as possible, which then leads us to the resume. Now, you want to make sure your resume is actually optimized for all these recruiters out here, and also for their recruiting systems that, I don't know, I wonder if they block us on purpose, but no, I'm just kidding. So you want to make sure that you have your resume optimized for that. Now, you can either use a AI resume writer, or you can get a professional writer if you're balling, you know. So yeah. So from there, you're gonna do interview preparation. Now, steps 1 through 4 should have kind of helped you prepare for that a little bit. And again, you're gonna do some of this stuff at the same time. Just want to repeat that. You know, don't say, hey, I did that and I ain't getting anything. Like, keep applying for jobs. You know, like, keep applying, and as your resume develops and as your skills increase, just update your resume as you go, because certain jobs are only going to exist for so long. You know, for me personally, I probably was still in step 1. I actually had no certifications when I got my job, and I had very little hands-on experience. The secret was the last step, and I'm gonna save that for the end, okay? So again, interview prep is step number 5. And number 6 in my step-by-step guide is networking. Yeah, I know you knew I was gonna say it, because you've been hearing it from everyone. Now I'm gonna make a statistic here, and you can feel free to correct me in the comments, because I don't know, I didn't do any research on this. Getting a job in the cloud is about 80% networking and 20% what you know. And when I say networking, I'm not talking about actual IT networking with VPCs and subnets. I mean literally shaking hands and kissing babies. Yeah, I almost said kissing hands and shaking babies, whatever. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. You want to be reaching out to the recruiters on LinkedIn. You want to make sure you're reaching out to hiring managers. And another thing I actually like doing is reaching out to employees at companies that you may be interested in. So you're gonna reach out to them and you're gonna say, hey, I see you work for this company and I've been interested in this company. I'd love to sit down and talk to you and hear your personal experience with the company and know what paths you've taken, because I'm looking to get into a similar role as you. Now, what can come from that is you're either possibly just have a great connection and you could possibly get a referral. When it comes to hitting up recruiters and hiring managers, which I can literally show you countless examples of this, but you look at these jobs and they have 500 applicants and no one's reaching out to the recruiters, no one's reaching out to the hiring managers. You can stand out by actually DMing them. So sliding them DMs. Like they want to hire somebody and you want to be hired. So, don't be afraid to interrupt their day, because that's what their job is. So yeah, do it. Okay. Now I will do another video going into deeper detail on how I get more interviews on LinkedIn. If you follow this guide, if you follow this step by step and not necessarily in the same order again, you should get a lot closer to finding a job in the cloud. Just in general, make sure you're confident about it. Make sure that you are able to articulate your transferable skills and really just want to sell yourself and tell your story. When I got hired at AWS, my hiring manager told me that what he really enjoyed about me was who I was. So he told me again, and you're gonna hear some other people too, that the technology can be taught, but your character, that's who you are. So until next time.